Any idea how we can get off the island?
Any idea how we can get off the island?
I've allowed you to continue your own investigations, Mr. Narracott, because I disagree that being the odd man out makes you more suspect. On the contrary. But I've given you a good deal of advice already. It would be well if you thought for yourself for a while and let us get on with our game.
I would have planned to get off the island. Can you help me build a parachute?
I've got a plan to get off the island. Can you help me build a parachute?
I'm not as strong as I once was, I'm afraid. Perhaps some of the others can assist you.
I appreciate your candor, Judge.
Can we get stitches or something? Maybe?
Have you seen any of the others?
Before we came in here, I saw Miss Brent knitting on the patio as if she hadn't a care in the world.
Could you form an autopsy?
Could you perform an autopsy on Mrs. Rogers?
I could, sir, but I won't. As Mr. Lombard so helpfully pointed out, it might be thought I had something to do with her death. It would be unethical for me to operate.
How much trianol is missing from your supply?
How much trianol is missing from your supply?
I wouldn't know. I left the bottle with Rogers in case his wife required a second draft.
Good day to you, Doctor.
The wind is picking up again, and there are white horses on the sea.
Has anyone seen the good doctor?
Here I am, Judge, just freshening up in my room before dinner.
How did your search go, Mr. Lombard?
Badly, Judge. I'm afraid I found nothing and lost Mr. Blore.
There's a squall moving in again. Shiprock's become quite windy.
Rogers? What is it, man?
The figure, sir. The figure's in the middle of the table. Look, now another's gone. There's only 7. It doesn't make sense. What's going on? What's happening?
We can discuss this new development over dinner. It's ready, Rogers?
Yes, sir. It's only cold tongue and cold ham, sir.
We understand, Rogers.
Where's the General?
Last time I saw him was on that beach. You asked me about him, Narracott. Did you find him there?
Yes.
Did he say anything to you?
His mind was wandering.
Perhaps you'd be so good as to fetch the General, Mr. Narracott. We'll delay dinner for you both.
No need for that. He's dead. Down there on the beach, leaning against a rock like a stick of driftwood.
Chapter 4. 7 little sailor boys chopping up sticks. One chopped himself in halves, and then there were 6.
Rogers is a first-class butler. I'll say that for him.
Wife was a pretty good cook, too. Too bad we only got 1 meal out of her.
Ladies and gentlemen, back to the business at hand. I'm going to ask Mr. Narracott to continue his investigation.
But he's the last one who saw the General alive.
The last one who is willing to admit to it. Mr. Narracott?
What am I doing? I'll talk to people.
Cause of death, Doctor?
The back of his skull was crushed with a blunt instrument.
Could it have been an accident?
Could the General's death have been an accident?
There were multiple wounds. Unless he repeatedly slammed the back of his head against a rock, I think we can safely rule out accident and suicide.
Oh dear.
Which confirms what we've all come to suspect. The first 2 deaths were undoubtedly murder as well.
I concur.
Time of death?
Time of death?
Only a few minutes before he was found. Not more than 30 at the outside.
Do you have an alibi?
Do you have an alibi for that period of time?
Why, the judge and I were playing snooker.
Forgive me, Doctor, but you went up to your room, if you'll recall.
Oh, of course, of course. For a moment or two only.
Thank you for your time, Doctor.
Which means the judge doesn't have an alibi either. Interesting. Where were you during the half-hour in question?
Where were you during the half-hour in question?
I won't deny that Lombard and I had split up by then. I was just wondering, collecting my thoughts,
Oh my
you might
God.
say.
Does no one have an alibi?
How did you come to find the body?
I'd seen the old gent down on the beach when we searched the island. He seemed pretty confused. I saw the storm coming on, knew it was almost supper time. Thought I'd collect him.
See anyone else on the beach?
No, no one.
Anything of a murder weapon?
See anything of a murder weapon?
Plenty of solid Devon rocks about. I didn't see any blood, but the rock could have just been tossed in the surf.
One said he'd stay right there, and then there were 7.
Thank you, Miss Claythorne, for again calling our attention to the rhyme. It is significant without a doubt. We have one dead from having choked himself. Another overslept herself. Now a third wishes to remain in Devon, and his wish is granted to him in a most final manner.
Thanks, Blore.
Where were you?
Where were you during the half hour in question?
Up on Ship Rock, where we spoke.
The entire time?
Yes, until the wind came up. I thought I should get back before the storm.
You could see the beach from where you were?
I spent most of my time on the far side of the summit. But I did move to a position above the beach once or twice. I saw you talking to the General from there.
Yes. He seemed to know he was going to die.
Could that be because you were swinging a rock at his head?
He was quite alive when I left him. Did you see anyone else on the beach?
Yes, I saw Philip. Mr. Lombard and Mr. Blore walking up the path from the beach. But that was earlier.
Anything else?
Anything else you can add, Vera?
No, nothing, I'm afraid.
A good evening to you, Miss Claythorne. Stay safe. Where were you during the half hour in question?
After Blore wandered off, I went back to that ruined fishing village. It seemed the most likely place for Owen to be hiding. When the weather closed in, I made a dash back here to the house.
Find any trace of Owen or anyone else on the island apart from us?
No, I wish I had.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Not at the moment.
Do you think I should use the parachute?
Do you think I should use the parachute to try and reach the mainland?
Yes, I think I'll feel a lot safer with you gone.
Could you assist me?
Could you assist me with your plan?
I handed it to you on a platter, Narracott. Surely others can help you with the menial work. I will pilot it for you, however.
That better be my job.
As you like.
That'll be all, Mr. Lombard.
So no one really has an alibi. Great. Where were you?
Where were you during the half hour in question?
On the front patio, knitting. I'd been there since just after breakfast. You spoke with me then.
3 times.
We saw her too after we'd searched the house.
Thank you, Mr. Lombard. But I feel bound to add that there were many stretches of time throughout the morning when I was quite alone.
Who else did you see?
Who else did you see?
Almost everyone at one time or another, I should think. I saw the General walk off along that path towards Ship Rock. A minute or two later, Miss Claythorne headed in the same direction.
He went to the beach. I climbed the rock.
Rogers was also near me for a time, sweeping away some of the debris on the patio from last night's storm.
Very tidy chap, that Rogers.
I don't know if it's important, but I heard someone up above me near the telescope. But I don't know who it was.
That is all, Miss Brent.
Well, it wasn't me, because... Was I meant to have gone up and done something with the telescope then? Where were you?
Where were you during the half hour in question?
After the doctor and I finished our game, I had a look around the library. I'm surprised to say I found one of my own books in there. I wonder which of the previous inhabitants of the island it belonged to.
Why not Owen?
My dear Mr. Blore, it was perfectly clear to me some time ago, and after your search you must realize now as well. Mr. Owen is on this island. He, or she, is one of us.
One of us.
No, no,
One
no.
of us.
Young lady, this is no time for refusing to look facts in the face. We are all in grave danger. One of us is Mr. Unknown, and Mr. Unknown has no good planned for us.
I'm a well-known professional man. The mere idea that I could be suspected of murder is preposterous.
I too am a well-known person. That, my dear sir, proves less than nothing. Doctors have gone mad before now. Judges have gone mad. So have policemen.
What do you think we should do?
What do you think we should do, Judge?
Be on our guard, especially at night.
I'd suggest prayer.
I'm not adverse to prayer, Miss Brent, but I would supplement it with a locked door.
Anything else?
Anything else you'd like to add?
Yes. I've been asked why I trust you, Mr. Narracott, our odd man out, to lead these informal inquiries of ours. It is very simple. It is clear to me that Mr. Owen had not planned on you stopping here on the island with us.
Unless Blore is Owen.
Stow that talk, Doctor.
An attempt has been made on your life.
So he says.
Right now, there is no one I trust more to get us out of this predicament.
Prettily spoken, Judge. I know you'll pardon me for saying this, but if you are Owen, you might want a bumbling amateur on the case more than a professional like Blore.
I would hope we all answer Mr. Blore's questions with equal candor.
Too right.
I am grateful for your assistance, Judge Wargrave.
Okay, I think that's everyone. Let's go and have a chat with Rogers then. What were you doing?
Where were you during the half hour in question?
Mostly in the kitchen, sir, preparing dinner. I also washed dishes, swept the patio, where I saw Miss Brent knitting. Quietly cleaned the game room so as not to disturb the doctor and the judge. Made the beds, and chopped some more firewood.
Very kind of you to give me your time, Mr. Rogers.
If I may sum up, we're trapped on this island at least till Monday morning. One of us is most certainly a homicidal maniac. None of us has a clear alibi for the time in which the General met his death. Have I forgotten anything?
Yes, it's storming again.
This might be a good time to explore the house unhindered.
Okay.
Our Lord moves in far more mysterious ways than you can ever hope to uncover.
Perhaps, Miss Brent, but I'm still willing to have a go.
Who do you think the killer is?
Who do you think the killer is?
Very well. I'll humor you. Mr. Blore seems the most likely suspect.
Why?
He's already admitted he's checked up on all of us as part of his supposed job for Mr. Owen. People with secrets, especially those with secrets concerning possible murders, don't make their complicity common knowledge. It would take a man like Mr. Blore to ferret it out.
Any idea who the next victim might be?
Any idea who Mr. Owen's next victim might be?
Forgive me, but I doubt he takes you very seriously. That leaves the judge as the biggest threat. Yes, if I were the killer, I'd go after the judge next.
Thank you, Miss Brent.
Okay. Oh, this is into the library. Yes, I think we've thoroughly explored the library unless something has changed, but I don't think it will have done. Aww.
Candy, ice cream. The next feature will be beginning shortly.
Mr. Narracott!
We can't blame him for snooping about in the dark, Vera dear. I'm afraid it's in his nature.
Were you looking for us?
For you, certainly. Who do you think the killer is?
I'd feel uncomfortable answering that.
Please try. Our lives may depend on it.
I'm surprised you value my opinion so highly. But if I were to guess, I'd be forced to say Dr. Armstrong.
Why?
Well, who else has the opportunity to cover his tracks so well? I, for one, can't dispute him if he says potassium cyanide has been used. And 2 of the 3 victims have been poisoned. Surely that points to a doctor.
Some might say to a woman.
Really?
Dear, okay, I think you're losing her love. Any idea who Mr. Owen's next victim might be?
Any idea who Mr. Owen's next victim might be?
Well, if I were Mr. Owen, I'd kill Philip.
Thank you so much.
He's obviously the most experienced at getting out of tight places. Wouldn't that make him the most dangerous to Mr. Owen?
Much obliged for your assistance, Miss Claythorne.
Who do you think the killer might be?
And who do you think the killer is?
Wargrave. The recording called us prisoners at the bar. The whole plot smacks of a sense of criminal justice gone mad. From what Vera tells me, he let that Seaton chap swing just for the jollies. Wargrave's my bet. No doubt about it.
Who do you think the next victim might be?
Any idea who Mr. Owen's next victim might be?
Well, if I were crass and selfish, come to think of it I am, I'd pick you. I don't much like you, Narracott.
Philip?
The swine has his sights on you, Vera, if you'd only see it. He doesn't deserve you.
Good evening, Mr. Lombard.
Okay.
Film is running, but nothing's being projected.
Do I have a lens for this then?
That doesn't make sense. There. Back to their original state. That doesn't make sense.
Okay, that won't go there. Okay. Some kind of light should go there, possibly. But
Film is running, but nothing's being projected.
so we need to find some kind of light thing. Yeah, but not the full light bulb that we've got. Alright, here's Rogers.
Oh, Mr. Narracott. You startled me.
Sorry, Rogers.
What are you doing?
Rogers, what are you doing?
I've already locked the door between the kitchen and the dining room. No one will be able to play tricks with those sailor boy figures tonight, at any rate.
Who do you think the killer is?
Who do you think the killer is?
Miss Claythorne, of course.
Why?
She brought the rhyme to our attention. She seems innocent of her crime. I think it's just a blind.
Aren't you innocent of your crime?
Aren't you innocent of your crime?
We're not talking of me, sir. And she's the least likely suspect with drunken doctors, wily judges, religious zealots, cowardly hunters, and you, whatever you are, running about.
Usually it's the butler who's the least likely suspect.
Not where I come from, sir.
The butler did it. Any idea who Mr. Owen's next victim might be?
Any idea who Mr. Owen's next victim might be?
Miss Claythorne.
But you said she was Mr. Owen.
Did I? Then Miss Brent.
Why?
There's something terrible about her. There's hard steel under those frumpy clothes. Mark my words. Owen would do well to polish her off before she gets her knitting needles into him.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers.
Okay. This is where he's already smashed one of them and is and the body's in there. Let's go upstairs. Oh. Cutscene? Oh, just... Oh, this is to, Yeah, okay, there's no point there.
No need to call unnecessary attention to my snooping.
Hang on. Boss's desk. Oh, patch of tobacco.
I see nothing remarkable. There. Back to their original state.
Got an empty pouch and loads of tobacco leaves.